Welcome home, Bitcoin truth seekers. It is Thursday, October 21st, 6:53 a.m. here in the Arizona desert. Let's check out what's going on in the market today. As always, BitcoinDailyView.com got more for you there. We all know there's ETFs happening. That's been kind of worn out. So let's just look right at, boom, the market. No outstanding news this morning other than, well, ETFs are definitely a place where money is flowing in. And I am sure that now that we have a Bitcoin one soon, as it has been contemplated, there'll be an Ethereum one. So Bitcoin making its big move, slowing down a little bit, alts catching up. This is glorious. So looking at the Bitcoin, well, I should say the Bitcoin and crypto universe in squares here at Coin360, it is a green day in the market. Only thing that's not red, I'm sorry, that's not green. Very, very few things are not green. Elrond is EGLD. That's in the red. That's interesting. That one's been really cranking recently. Anyway, Bitcoin 65,230, Ethereum 4,244. That is glorious. And not to be forgotten, Litecoin 207. It broke that $200 barrier. I like seeing that. Bitcoin dominance 47%. Cool. Looking at spot trading volume for Bitcoin on Binance, 35 billion. That's good to go. Really, over 30 billion. Good day. Okay, really good day is over 50 billion. We've got a hard time getting over that $30 billion mark recently, but this morning we're above 30 billion at 35 billion. It's up 74% last 24 hours. You can see here in the graph, it is kicking ass. Now let's look at longs and shorts. Let's look at derivatives. For Binance, over 70 billion is a good day for sure. We're at 113 billion. That's wonderful, up 79% last 24 hours. So definitely we have the trading volume we need for a good day. This is righteous. Recently, we've had a hard time getting over 3 billion trading volume for Bitcoin explicitly across the big exchanges. And we're looking at retail volume here, not really whales. So today we're at 9.9 billion in volume for Bitcoin across the big exchanges. That is extraordinary. So 4.7 billion on Binance. Coinbase had a hard time getting over $500 million recently. 2 billion. So Coinbase is moving fast. Bitfinex, where people love to long and short, 1.4 billion. No one else showed up for $1 billion except I will say Kraken is at 771 million. I like seeing that. Kraken is a cool exchange. One of my old hometowns, Seattle, does have Bittrex. It's a good exchange for those people in America who don't want to use a VPN and such. Good little exchange. It's been hitting like 20-some billion on a good day recently. Well, today, 47 billion. So Bittrex, bam. So anyway, the exchanges are definitely on fire. Almost 10 billion, 9.9 billion in trading volume last 24 hours is extraordinary. So we got room to move up. I do know that some people are looking at leverage and they're worried about, open interest, as they call it, too much leverage. You're going to have a short squeeze, you're going to have a long squeeze, you're going to have a Darth Maul doji. I just don't honestly care. Whatever. We're really pumping. And when you're pumping like this, you're so overextended. Of course, you're going to have a retrace at some point. It's all about finding spots where you think it may happen, and depending on what time frame you're on, do you want to hedge out when that begins to happen, when you can see it happening and you according to your time frame. Who knows? Anyway, with that said, trade in your own way, but I wouldn't myself personally, with this much trading volume for Bitcoin explicitly and spot and futures on Binance being so on fire. I myself personally am not expecting some mega retrace. Don't watch the world go by while you're waiting for the big retrace. Anyway, with that said, Binance, Bitcoin, longs versus shorts on Binance, 63% long, 36% short. That's definitely a long bias on Binance, while the groovy volume is. Looking at Ethereum, 71% long, 28% short. Definitely, we have a long bias this morning. Now, of course, when everyone has that bias, it can happen, but it ain't happened yet. So daily chart for Bitcoin, as you can see, it's been rocking up beautifully. It's above the 200 moving average. It's just cruising up powerfully. I love seeing it. MACD is positive. It's a glorious day. So far, it's a red candle today. Bitcoin is doing a little bit of a retrace, of course. I mean, it's been just cranking like crazy. So, of course, it's going to cool off a little bit. Now, here's my thing. This is a 45-minute chart for Bitcoin. And I started this Fibonacci sequence back when does this start? Yeah, way back here on like 29th of September, when we first started this upwards move as I see it. And I broke the 200 moving average, etc. Short time frame, I know, but we have a lot of data in here. We're showing a lot of time. Looking at the fib levels, if we were to have a mega retrace to a logical fib level, looking at like the 236, and that could be like $60,000, $60,823 could happen. I think with this powerful move upwards, and we already are seeing a bit of a retrace here. Bitcoin's kind of finding some sideways action after its all-time high. The 200 moving average would be a spot you could come down to bounce. And right now, that's right around also where we have previous support and resistance here. Well, actually, I should say previous resistance more than support, but support and resistance right here. I'm looking at the 200 moving average and previous support and resistance here in the chart. 62,100 is my limit buy. So if anybody's wondering, I know 64 was a spot many people had their limit orders in. It's a bit of a support right here, support and resistance. Totally doable, but for me, really, it's not worth hopping back in unless we get enough of a retrace. I should say hedging in more unless we have more of a retrace. So just saying 62,100. If we come down this low, I got a limit order in to pick a little bit up. If we don't, then that's fine. I'm doing fine. I'll probably use my cash for other things, for other buys, probably all that are taken off. So anyway, that's my take on it. I just think that the 200 moving average in the 45-minute chart is pretty darn powerful. As you can see, we've been staying above it. Occasionally we'll get a bounce down to it or a wick that gets close to it. I'm just thinking like if we really get a like a wick, I'm thinking this would be kind of a wick buy where maybe it dumps a little bit more. You catch a wick, it wicks under that 200 moving average for a minute or two. And then of course, previous support resistance here in the chart. And I think 62,100. I got a limit order there. We'll see. If I catch it, I'm good to go. There you go. I'm. I just funny. I see how many people are putting so much effort into like the retrace, and some people are saying like 57,500. Some are saying like there's all kinds of conjecture. I mean, you could look here at the 382 fib line. That is 57,113. So, and there's previous support and resistance there in the chart. So, some would say we could get a retrace all the way to 57,500 or so. It would make sense fib-wise. Could happen. Anyway, guys, I'm not feeling this great big retrace some people are talking about. There's always those people, Anyway, with that said, Ethereum versus USDT. Sorry, a little slow this morning. Ethereum versus USDT 45-minute chart. It is cranking. Of course, above the 200 moving average, looking good. These indicators are kind of good. It's cooling off right now. I had a big kind of a Darth Maul doji there. It's working its way back up. It's looking good, And the thing is, when you get into these massive runs like this, when you're going up and up and up and up, let's say we just saw a 50% retrace here on Bitcoin. That'd be 53,934. Some people even say that's possible. So anyway, I guess I'm belaboring the point, but I'm just not seeing the great retrace that many are as a possibility. Just my take on it. You got a strong-ass daily chart here with a good MACD. I think if the MACD tangent turns down, we had a red candle or two for a day, and Bitcoin was trending down, maybe I would see the retrace. But sorry, guys. I don't want to waste your time, belaboring it. But I'm just saying, I really think that in the .236 fib line, 60,823, that's a possibility. I mean, if shit went really crazy, maybe you could see a 382 fib line buy, which is definitely possible. 57,013, that's possible. And I do see some people who are very, very convinced, who are good traders, good TA people that I know that consistently make money, are saying like 57,500 is a spot they have limit orders in. So all about, hey, whatever you might want to do. We're cranking. Are we going to retrace and how much? We'll see. Remember, there's no top and there is no bottom. And ultimately, it's all conjecture, and the chart and reality does not have to play by your rules or your, or how you see it. So with that said, once again, Ethereum on against USDT 45-minute chart, really pumping. Nice big Darth Maul doji, and now it's beginning to keep going sideways. Boom, there you go. Ethereum versus BTC is what's kind of exciting me though, because as Bitcoin, I think if it begins to go sideways, if it begins to also retrace a little bit, if it keeps cranking, this is not going to be the case. But like right now, it's important to now that the alts can catch up, especially Ethereum can catch up. So Ethereum, of course, followed Bitcoin. Ethereum is seeing some volatility, but Ethereum versus BTC, one of my favorite trades is Ethereum versus BTC. I'm looking at this, it's in a good spot. About the 200 moving average, it's cranking. I'm just watching this closely. The indicators, see, everything right now is a little bit extended. Like Bitcoin's really extended. Ethereum's kind of extended. They've all made this big pump, and so now it's sort of consolidated. Now it's a little bit of, are we going to go sideways, or are we going to retrace? We're going to pump more. It's an uncertain time, if you ask me. I'm kind of just hedging my bets and just keeping cool, and got things to do today, and I'm not going to worry about it. It may take a day or two for this turbulence, this wonderful pumping here for Bitcoin and Ethereum to chill a little bit. Then we'll see a direction. Is it going to be sideways? Is it going to start downtrending? Is it going to go up? But right now, when you're in these kind of when you're on a rocket ship to Pluto, you're on a rocket ship to Pluto, and these Bitcoin's looking wonderful. Ethereum, beautiful pump. Definitely some serious red candles this morning, retracing here on the 45-minute chart. So, I'm watching these indicators. These are all kind of turned down, but like look at the Ethereum versus USDT on the tangent of the stochastic RSI is turning up. Maybe we'll see that play out. KRI is looking kind of poopy. Way turned oscillated by lazy bear shows we're going to trend down. So looks like Ethereum may trend down a little bit more of a, may see more of a retrace there. It's at the top of the RSI case. Maybe it'll come down to around the middle. Anyway, just watching. Directional index is still in the green. ADX is good. If this starts trending positive, we get some nice positive looking directional index. Maybe I'll hedge some cash into USD, into Ethereum versus USDT. But so much is really, like I say, interesting me is the Ethereum versus BTC. Wonderful trade. If we can make this happen. So directional index is in the green. ADX is rising. Squeeze indicator is beginning to show a trail off, but still some nice positive power there. KRI is in the green. Stochastic RSI looks like it might be getting ready to turn up here. It's in the buy zone. And wait and oscillator by lazy bear is like, nope, we're going to go down for a bit. So everything's kind of finding some equilibrium right now. I'm just going to chill and watch, but definitely I could see if Bitcoin begins to chill, then we're going to see all start to crank. We already are. We're seeing some for sure make moves. Ethereum is. And I could see Ethereum, like if Ethereum starts outgaining Bitcoin percent-wise for a while, this would just be a sweet trade to get into. So I'm watching this for that possibility. Right now, this chart looks strong, but I'm really kind of waiting for Bitcoin and Ethereum to figure out what they're going to do next. We're going to go sideways, retrace, or more up. Right now, it's just too darn turbulent for me to know. And but I'm watching Ethereum versus BTC real close. It's up here at the top of the RSI cave. It's not too far from the 8-moving average. It did retrace a bit recently, as you can see. It's playing with previous support and resistance in the chart here. So let's see what happens. Nothing is quite lucrative enough for me to do anything, but I'm watching. Solaris versus BTC, not Solaris, Solera versus BTC. Now, if you're looking at Sol, Solera versus USDT, it's doing really great. But also Sol versus BTC, this is very exciting. Sol starting to really pump. So if Bitcoin's going to stay sideways at all, I definitely could see Sol outgaining it. And look at that. We had a beautiful break above the 200 moving average, a test. Bam, we're going up. Now we're going sideways. Top of the RSI cave, but not too far from the 8-moving average. All these indicators are pretty good, but they show it's probably maybe going to be sideways or a or retrace a bit. Wait an oscillator here on the 45-minute chart by Lazy Bear is showing time to chill out. Then again, the RSI. Stochastic RSI kind of contradicts it. It says no, we're in the buy zone and we're turning up. Could very well be. KRI in the green, but trending down. Squeeze indicator shows a loss of upwards velocity. Directional index in the green, ADX in the right spot. But let's see what this does. It may need to chill out. I'm just going to watch this. Right when the market gets this volatile, when you have Bitcoin crank like this, everything's a little bit in disarray. It's like someone just did a cannonball into a swimming pool, or more like into a kiddie pool. It's just boom, everything's crazy. You don't know what's going on yet. So I'm watching Sol versus BTC. This could be a great trade. Sol definitely has had a downwards trend for a while, kind of got its butt handed to it, especially versus BTC. because I think it had some like blockchain issues and stuff. But look, this is a big NFT machine right now. I mean, NFTs on Ethereum are just ridiculously expensive. NFTs are a big deal. Solera has some good stuff going for it. I definitely think it's going to get back into the mad gains. You can already see that happening versus USDT. So as Bitcoin chills out and they all start to move up, if that's the case, Sol versus BTC, one that I'm definitely watching. ETH versus BTC, one that I'm definitely watching. Let's not forget, oops, sorry about that. Litecoin versus USDT. It kind of gets forgotten sometimes, but it's off the 200 moving average. It's not even at the top of the RSI cave right now. It's already chilled. Maybe it's going sideways now. These indicators show definitely we could be in a spot where we start turning up. Have to watch. Litecoin versus USDT. It tends to get forgotten, but it's doing quite well too. And it has not had like the badass run up like Bitcoin and Ethereum really have. So it's still kind of one of the big three. It does have Nimble protocol getting built into it, supposedly. I figured if it's already done or not, but I think definitely if that was to happen and it could have private transactions, it would definitely be a player. So with that said, keeping an eye on it, Litecoin versus USDT. It is a badass coin that's kind of been forgotten, I feel like, in 2021, maybe even in 2020. It just hasn't been doing that much, but let's watch it. Anyway, with that said, I especially like it because it hasn't had the big pump that Bitcoin and Ethereum have. So, and of course, many alts have had their pump too. But SHIB versus USDT, blah. I love SHIB. I'm happy. It's a beautiful, beautiful project. I'm digging it. It is above the 200 moving average. It's been kind of hanging out. Like right now, the 200 moving average is below the 314 moving average, which is a little bit flaccid here on the 45-minute chart. But the 200 moving average is trending back up. Let's see if we can get a 200 moving average cross of that 314 moving average, which you see right there. It's riding that 314 in the middle of the RSI cave. Directional index is in the red. ADX is trending down. KRI is trending down. But then again, the stochastic RSI says, oh, it's getting a sharp incline here out of the buy zone this morning. So maybe we'll see some upwards movement. Wager not slated by Lazy Bear. Still not looking too hot, but that tangent does begin to look like it's going to start trending up. So let's see what happens. SHIB has had a heck of a run recently. Wonderful, wonderful run up. But it's been, as you can see here, it's just been kind of stuck in a bit of a sideways pattern. But let's just see. I do have a feeling, and I know that, you can't really base TA on a feeling, but I think we're going to see a jump off this 314. Also, some people have drawn it like this. This is actually from a guy named Wolfie over at the Blockchain Education. He caught this. He was mentioning this. Depending on how you look at it, it's a couple ways you can draw this pattern. But I mean, ultimately, if you do, you can kind of see where we have, well, you can kind of see it here, really. You can say, look at that. We had a kind of a wedge going, and you can draw this. You can hook to this wedge even lower down if you want. But anyways, there you go. So it kind of broke out of this wedge pattern and it's going sideways. So that's kind of cool. But if you want it, you could also do the wedge pattern like this, and you could say it's broken out of that wedge. Definitely could. But even if you go way up here, let's cut those little wicks off. You can see where this pattern is only going to last so long. SHIB's getting to a point where it's going to have to, break out of this. And so far it has. Looking at this different angles, you can see where it broke out of the wedge here. It broke out of the wedge here. Now we're just giving it more of a hard time and saying, can it break out of the wedge again? So anyway, it looks like by the October 25th, by the end of the month, it's really going to run out of any possible wedge to play in. So I'm watching SHIB versus USDT because I think it's a pretty badass project. And I mean, it's just got, if you ask me, it's got Lambo written all over it. Let's look at Doge versus USDT. Not bad at all. So Doge versus USDT, indicators are trending down. But it is above the 200 moving average. It's in the middle of the RSI cave. It's playing with previous, as you can see right here, very, very clearly playing around with previous support and resistance in the chart. Let's see what it does. It's not, to me, even though it's above the 200 moving average, it's not exactly an exciting chart right now. We'll see what happens. Definitely got room to move up. XRP versus USDT. When Bitcoin started moving, it broke above the 200 moving average from the 45-minute chart, looking good, going sideways, very Darth Maul, very, very spiky. Came back to visit the 200 moving average with a wick. Chart is turning down kind of right now. Not too exciting right now for XRP versus USDT. Well, with that said, we're looking great. Like I say, I think I'm not worried about catching just right now a retrace on Bitcoin to any great extent. Like I say, I do have a 62,100 limit order in. I think that's really what we're going to see, and it probably is going to be a wick, but it's all a matter of feeling. I base it on the 200 moving average, previous support and resistance in the chart, and also, if we went below that, getting close to that 314 moving average would be the 236 fib at 60,823. But we have a lot of upwards momentum going right now. All good, all is well. I'm not seeing the big retrace. Some are. Ethereum looking wonderful. But right now it's on its way down a little bit. Everything's kind of cooling off a little bit after being way overextended. Ethereum versus BTC. I'm watching this one like a hawk. If I start seeing the some upwards movement here, and everything's so extended, it's just kind of hard to find a good entry. Sol looking great. Litecoin not to be forgotten. Doge not incredibly exciting. It's kind of dumping right now. I'll tell you what, if it did dump all the way to the 200 moving average and then started making a move up and the indicators looked good, I definitely would hop into Doge possibly a little bit. With that said, sorry I don't have an image here. I usually have some cool image, but to close the show on. But basically, everybody, remember, this is the Peaceful Revolution. I'm glad you're here. And for every Bitcoin Satoshi you own, a piece of shit globalist cries.